We start in the United Kingdom, where Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth, has died at the age of 99. Buckingham Palace announced he had passed away peacefully Friday morning at Windsor Castle. The palace said the Queen shared the news with deep sorrow. The couple had been married for over 7 decades. Prince Philip was known as the Duke of Edinburgh and was the longest-serving consort in British history. Prince Philip was born a Greek prince in 1921 and served in World War II. He was a keen sportsman and constant figure by the Queen's side. He carried out more than 20,000 public engagements as her consort. In 2017, he retired from official life and made rare appearances. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the prince had earned the affection of generations.
It is to Her Majesty and her family that our nation's thoughts must turn today, because they have lost not just a much-loved and highly respected public figure, but a devoted husband and a proud and loving father, grandfather, and in recent years, great-grandfather.
The prince was recently hospitalized for a pre-existing heart condition and was released last month. NHK has learned the Japanese government is ready to announce as early as Tuesday it plans to dispose of radioactive wastewater in Fukushima by releasing it into the ocean. Wastewater produced by the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant is stored in tanks in the compound, which are set to fill up next year. It's treated but still contains radioactive tritium. Certain amounts of tritium are released either into the air or the sea at nuclear plants across the globe after dilution to permissible levels set by the respective government. The Japanese government says when tritium from Fukushima Daiichi is released, it'll be diluted to 1,500 becquerels per liter. The permissible level set by the World Health Organization for tritium in drinking water is about 7 times higher than this. The plan is to discharge the water into the ocean in about 2 years. Many local residents are concerned about the proposal.
Now the reconstruction work is proceeding, and the negative impact of rumors is decreasing. I don't want it to start all over again.
Politicians should come here to listen to our opinions. We don't know how they feel about the damage caused by rumors.
Local fishermen had conducted small-scale fishing on a test basis until the end of March, so fish could be checked to see if it's safe for consumption. They recently decided to increase the volume of their catches. Now, the head of a national organization representing fisheries said his members are totally opposed to dumping the wastewater into the ocean. He said their stance has not changed after a meeting with the Prime Minister on Wednesday. China reacted swiftly to the news.
Japan should disclose information in a strict, accurate, and transparent manner. Japan should fully consult with the neighboring countries before making a decision.
South Korea and Taiwan have also adopted a similar stance. Japan's industry minister says the government will work to address their worries and bring in the International Atomic Energy Agency and other partners.
We will seek the cooperation of global organizations such as the IAEA and local governments to thoroughly check the plan's safety and maintain transparency.
The government says it'll step up monitoring of tritium levels before and after the wastewater is discharged into the sea in cooperation with local governments and the fisheries industry. Moving now to the coronavirus clampdown here in Japan. Tokyo, Kyoto, and Okinawa will step up anti-coronavirus measures next week to curb recent spikes in infections. The central government designated the prefectures as areas where stricter protocols are necessary.
We made the decision considering the facts that the number of new infections is increasing in these areas and that the medical systems there could be further strained.
The new situation will be in place for about a month in limited areas in the hopes of warding off the need to declare another state of emergency. 3 other prefectures, Osaka, Hyogo, and Miyagi, have already tightened restrictions. Governors will ask bars and restaurants to close by 8 p.m. Residents will be urged to refrain from unnecessary travel outside their prefectures.
We are facing a threat of the N501Y variant virus, which is highly infectious. We want everyone to be aware that we are now in a critical situation.
Since the last state of emergency was lifted last month in Tokyo, new cases have been on the rise. The daily tally topped 500 for 3 days in a row. The stricter measures come before a week-long holiday starting in late April.
I was planning to go on a trip as usual, but maybe I shouldn't, given the situation.
I want to visit my hometown outside Tokyo to see my family, but I think I should postpone the trip.
Now, Japan started vaccinating healthcare workers in February. Here in Tokyo, there are an estimated 600,000 who want the inoculation, but so far only about 16% of them have received either 1 or 2 shots. Vaccinations for an estimated 36 million senior citizens across the country will start on Monday. The minister in charge of the program says the government will likely be able to get enough doses to give 2 shots per person by the end of June.
Local governments will be able to go into full swing soon. Municipalities with a small population will be able to start vaccinating people with underlying conditions early.
Across Japan, health authorities reported more than 3,400 new cases on Friday, including 883 in Osaka. The prefecture is now seeing more daily infections than anywhere else in the country. To be able to accept more COVID-19 patients, 2 major hospitals there have suspended receiving serious emergency cases. Myanmar's military junta is stepping up its information blackout by tightening internet access and confiscating satellite dishes used to access news broadcasts. Local broadcaster Mizima says the military has started to seize its satellite dishes. It says its TV channel was no longer available, but continues to broadcast through alternative platforms such as social media networks. The military continues its crackdown on anti-coup protesters. A Myanmar human rights group says 614 people have been killed by security forces since the coup on February 1st. The military has also arrested many people, including celebrities, accusing them of inciting protests. The special envoy to the UN, appointed by a group of ousted lawmakers called CRPH, spoke online to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan on Friday. He called on the international community to pressure the junta to restore democracy.
It is no longer just a military coup. It is become military actions, military operation against 54 million people of Myanmar. This violence needs to be stopped, or our leaders need to be released. It's also preventions of great civil wars.
A military spokesperson on the same day accused the CRPH of instigating unrest. He said serious actions will be taken against such activities. Now, the UN Special Envoy on Myanmar, Christine Schraner-Burgener, has arrived in Bangkok to hold talks with Thai government officials. In a tweet, she said she's also ready for dialogue with the Myanmar military authorities. The UN will likely call for a unified regional effort to pressure the junta. The envoy may also visit other neighboring countries as well as Myanmar if the regime allows her access. Japan's Imperial Household Agency has revealed how Crown Prince Akishino and his family reacted to the contents of a document released by the boyfriend of his eldest daughter, Princess Mako. The boyfriend, Komuro Kei, on Thursday, released a document in which he explains details of a financial matter involving his mother and her former fiancé. In 2018, the media reported on the issue. The couple's engagement to the couple's engagement was later postponed. The top aide to the Crown Prince said on Friday, Crown Prince and Princess Akishino seem to understand Komuro has made an effort to make clear the various measures his family has taken to resolve the matter. The official disclosed Princess Mako discussed with the Komuro family how they should deal with the matter after media outlets reported on it, including releasing the document. He quoted Princess Mako as saying she would be grateful if people who read the document understand it's a complicated matter. The NHK Symphony Orchestra in Tokyo says Italian maestro Fabio Luisi will become its new chief conductor from September 2022. The 62-year-old has served as general music director of the Staatskapelle Dresden in Germany and principal conductor of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. Luisi has also guest-conducted renowned orchestras, including the Philadelphia Orchestra. He's acquired a vast repertoire from classic to contemporary during his prolific career. Luisi has collaborated with the NHK Symphony Orchestra 7 times since 2001. He'll become its second-ever chief conductor after the incumbent Paavo Järvi. The post was created in 2015. Luisi will have a 3-year contract term. Before taking on the position, the orchestra plans to invite him to lead concerts in Japan from November this year. Luisi is scheduled to conduct Beethoven's 9th Symphony in December. Next, in world weather, powerful thunderstorms are still expected to impact the southern United States for the next couple of days. Our meteorologist Jonathan Oh has the outlook for the region in our world weather report.
Hello, we are looking at some strong thunderstorms to impact the southern United States as we go through Friday and even into Saturday. We are watching out for this low pressure system that is departing, but then behind it, another low is coming right behind it into places like Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, and even into Alabama, where you have the highest risk for severe thunderstorms, a moderate risk as we go through Friday. So make sure you pay attention to the weather situation throughout the day. That same low pressure system will then move toward the east, and we're looking at the possibility of seeing some strong thunderstorms for areas close toward Georgia and the Carolinas as we go through the weekend. So again, pay attention because it looks like it's going to be an active few days. Rain and thunderstorms into Atlanta with a high of 22 for Saturday. Showers into D.C., Chicago at 17. And notice the warm air that is still in place. Back toward the west, highs anywhere from 19 in Denver to 25 in Houston. Meanwhile, we're talking about some dry weather up toward the eastern areas of Russia, and that's causing some problems. Here's a look at some video to give you an idea of the situation. As wildfires are spreading over far eastern Russia, nearly 20 blazes have been recorded every day in the region where this video came from. About 1,000 hectares of forests are currently on fire, with some of them flaring up very close to villages. It seems one of the causes of the fires is people burning grass in their field. Dry, warm weather along with strong winds have helped spread the fires.
A spokesman for Myanmar's military rulers says protests are decreasing, but 18 ambassadors to the country called for a return to democracy. Iran releases a South Korean chemical tanker and its captain after the ship was seized in January and held near the Strait of Hormuz. The presidents of Botswana, Malawi, South Africa, and Zimbabwe say they will consider joint action with Mozambique against extremist violence there. And Prince Philip, husband of Queen Elizabeth II of England, dies at the age of 99.
President Biden's announced his administration's first measures to limit gun violence in the US after describing the situation as an international embarrassment. His executive orders include the tightening of regulations for guns assembled at home. Police in Northern Ireland have used water cannon for the first time in 6 years after more violence in West Belfast. The UK and Irish governments have condemned both loyalist and nationalist protesters. The trial of Derek Chauvin has been told by a medical expert that George Floyd died from a lack of oxygen after officers held him down in a vice hold for more than 9 minutes. Mr. Chauvin denies the charge of murder. Greta Thunberg's told the BBC she may not attend this year's COP climate conference over worries about global COVID vaccination rates. The Swedish climate campaigner says she believes Britain should consider postponing the event.